What is up, everybody? Welcome to Sitting with Sean, episode number 32. It's hard to believe I have 32 episodes and I've only been doing this for like 2 months. I'm learning moderation. It used to be go, 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 and now it's like, okay, I gotta pace myself.
Yeah, you're gonna run out of people. No, you.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people to talk. Only a handful of people that want to share their story. So, today we have a very special guest, TikToker. I met her on TikTok. Her name is Jamie Hatfield. How you doing today, Jamie?
I'm good. How are you?
Ah, busy.
Thanks.
Goose fraba today. That's what I need. I need a little breath.
Yeah.
Breath. But yeah, so Jamie, would you like to give a formal introduction of yourself?
Well, my name's Jamie. I'm 37 years old. I'm from Vegas. I forget.
How old am I?
I lost a lot of years in addiction. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna.
Hey, I understand.
I still live in Las Vegas. My clean date is 11/21/2019. So I've been sober almost 3 years.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. So we're actually like I'm only a month away from you, so that's pretty awesome. That's
Yeah.
cool. That is pretty cool. It's cool to see people that have like long recovery.
Yeah.
That more than a year. I still like to talk to people that have a year, under a year, because it reminds me of where I was in my early recovery.
Right.
But it's also cool to hear. I interviewed a guy like last month, 2 months ago maybe, and he had 20 years clean. I was like, I'm gonna be there one day. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be there one day. That's exciting. That's very exciting.
I can't
So
even imagine it.
go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
said, I can't even imagine it. Like, I mean, I can, but I can't. Like, it's just,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy because like at least for me, I don't know about it for you. I stopped counting days because after I got to a year, I was like, okay, I need to stop counting days because I'm driving myself crazy. But then I look at my sober time app and I'm like, man, I've been going for 2 years and 8 months. Man, this feels good.
yeah.
That's awesome. So, you're big on TikTok. You're pretty big on TikTok.
Yeah. Well, when I got out, I got out of prison in March,
Hmm.
right when COVID hit. And so I knew I wanted to stay sober. I had no idea how, especially with COVID and quarantine, and I didn't know what to do. And my sister was like, "Oh, there's a stupid dance app," and like I thought it was just like something to like watch. Like I had no idea like then, and so I just stumbled upon like Mama Shark and Be Magic, and I was like, "Oh, these people are in recovery. Like this is something I can get into," and that basically kept me sober my first year. Just I mean, sitting in the house and scrolling TikTok, and then I started making my own videos, and I was actually started by helping people get into rehab. People would ask me like, "Do you have any resources for rehab?" And so I just started like I made a whole spreadsheet on rehabs all over the country that took certain kind of insurances and one that didn't take any. And then I just would make videos for people that were reaching out for help. And I don't know if you know about the steps, but like that was like kind of
Hmm.
my spiritual experience almost,
Yep.
without doing the steps and actually having one. Like that was what kept me sober and kept me going. And so like people make fun of me out in my little AA scene out in Vegas. They'll be like, "Oh, your TikToks," and I'm like, "Yeah, but my TikTok saved my life. Like it holds a dear place in my heart." So I just kept going with it, and I met hundreds of recovery TikTokers. We just had a huge thing in Atlanta where we all met up, and I mean, it's been a huge support system. Like they've saved my ass on many occasions that I didn't even like think was possible. Like I didn't think these people from all over the country. I mean, we just had Kate Cookie from London come down for the event. Like all over the world, like coming together for one purpose, and that's to show people that we can recover and live successful lives and be normal.
Absolutely. That's amazing. That's pretty awesome. I know for me, like I've seen TikTok prior to going to jail, and my kids were watching it, and I was seeing like I literally looked at TikTok and I was like, "This is the dumbing of America, right? Right here, this whole thing right here." And even after I got out and I started early recovery, I actually, I think, yeah, actually, this month is my year mark on the app, and my wife, so I play video games. I play Minecraft and stuff, and so that's like one of my self care things is I dedicate some time to playing. And my wife would sit behind me and she listened to stuff, you know, listen to different TikToks. And there was a lady that posted up a video and she read a note from her husband that had died from addiction. And I just heard the pain in her voice and heard the letter that she read, and I don't cry. Well, I mean I cry. I have videos that where I've teared up, but I haven't like been hit so hard as that. And so I said, if there's this much pain on TikTok as as a peer support specialist, maybe I can do some good.
Right.
And so I jumped on and I started doing informational stuff like what addiction looks like, you know, what mental health disorders look like, and that they look like you and me. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like
Absolutely.
you wouldn't be able to tell somebody around the corner that if they had an issue or not,
Right.
or if something was going on. So it was honestly, TikTok has been a gift because I met some amazing people on there in recovery, out of recovery. Get to meet and talk to you. Get to meet and talk to a lot of people in recovery, and I love it. It's pretty awesome, and it like you said, it saved my ass on some days. Some days I was just not feeling it, and somebody would say something, and yeah, it just changed my perspective on everything that I was looking at. So you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. So let's get into it. What was it like in your active addiction?
A mess. A fucking um, yeah, I started using young drinking. I mean, I grew up in Vegas. Like that was
Hmm.
like normal. Like we didn't. I mean, I was going to clubs and bars at 16. Like that was normal. And I don't know if you know about the science of addiction, but being a peer support specialist, like once you take that first drink or drug into your body, like it chemically, you have a chemical reaction. And I didn't stop. I didn't stop, and it just spiraled out of control. By 24, I was a full blown heroin addict, and I didn't even care. Like I knew that I was going to become like a heroin addict. I would tell myself if I ever do heroin, that's going to be it for me. And then, but I, in the back of my head, wanted to try it still. Like knew it was going to
Yeah.
take my life into like this, big black hole, and I still wanted to try it. So yeah, it was just, I mean, homeless, everything, all the thing, everything you can think of. In and out of jail, prison twice. Just the worst of the worst. I was in California, homeless on train tracks. Like hosed to shower. Like it was bad at one point in time.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't really like even know what to say because it was so bad, and I can't believe that someone like myself could ever let themselves get that way. But I mean, at the time, I didn't even care. Like, I mean, I liked it. I liked the excitement. I liked it. Nothing mattered to me other than that lifestyle. Like that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that. You know, you're talking about the chemical reaction, and my first drink was when I was 18, and I was stationed in Italy, of all places. Like, there's no drinking age, whatever, and so from that first sip, I was addicted, and it was, you know, I hear so many people damning the life that they lived in that time. I had some good times.
Fun.
I
I
had a
mean,
fucking blast.
I had fun. I did, and I enjoyed it. And I mean, as screwed up as it is to say, like I literally enjoyed it. Like, I mean, I can't believe it, but it's true. Like I was not unhappy. I mean, there were days when I wasn't happy,
Yeah.
but in the general scheme of things, I was so messed up in the brain that I had thoroughly convinced myself that I was okay being an addict and living that lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, I had a fucking blast when I was, you know, when I was drinking. I don't enjoy the dumb shit that I did. I
Right.
There are things that I don't like. Like I didn't like waking up blacked out, couldn't figure out what the fuck happened the night before. That sense of embarrassment. I didn't like to a degree. Well, no, I didn't like the dependency where I felt like at a point like I needed it to function or I needed it to be okay. I didn't like that. I didn't like that feeling, but I had a great time. I met some good people, some people that are in recovery now. It is weird how life works out, you know. I met some people that are still, you know, that are still out there doing their thing, and that's okay. It's not for me to judge. but I had a great time, and one of the things that you also hit on was the fact that you were okay with it, and that's what a lot of people that haven't suffered from addiction don't understand is like we get to a point where we're okay with it. That shit becomes normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like it for me, it was nothing to go to work, drive past gas station, go pick up a fifth, come home, crack it before I even walked in the door.
Mm-hmm.
And we become so ingrained in it and embedded into it that it becomes, like I said, normal. And then something else that you said that really kind of like sparked my thought process, and I just had it. I lost it. It'll come around to me. I'll remember it. But but so when you got to that point where it started to become, I remember I talked myself back into it. It's weird. I do that sometimes. So and I lost it again. Brain injury. Brain injury. I lose things and I pick them up, lose them, pick them up. Okay. But anyways, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. No? Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Sorry. No. So I've hit my head too many times in the army, and I lose things and pick them back up. Anyways, so you had talked about the fact that you said I don't want, or if I do heroin, I'm going to get addicted to it. And I got to this point. It's weird that you said that, and it clicked with me. I wasn't out. I was drinking heavily, and then I got to this point where I didn't care in my life, and I started messing around with some drugs, some hard shit, and I said I'm not going to do that because I'm going to get addicted. How? What kind of madness is that?
Yeah.
It's madness because I'm already addicted to alcohol. Right, right. I'm already there. I'm already in my full blown addiction with alcohol, and I'm looking at drugs as the problem.
Yeah, well,
Which
I'm on meth, and I'm like, oh well, I don't want to do heroin. I'm gonna get addicted to it. Like, it's your own meth. Like, I'm like,
yeah,
oh no, not the, not heroin. Like, what? It doesn't matter at this point. And that's what my brain told me. What does it matter at this point? Like, you're already doing these. Might as well just do it all. And then,
yeah, yeah. And addiction, it drives us to do some wild things. What is like one of the craziest things that you can remember in your addiction?
so like bad crazy, good. I mean, the craziest thing that happened to me in my addiction was I was 20 weeks pregnant. So I think it's 5 months pregnant, and I couldn't stop getting high. I couldn't stop. I slept on the bed of a rehab. The only rehab in San Diego that would take pregnant women. I slept on their steps, begged them to take me. They wouldn't take me. Of course, my addiction, like, was like, fuck it, just keep going. So I went back out and I got arrested. I was on the run, and I had a stillborn baby in the back of a cop car. I was locked in the back of a cop car. So that was traumatizing to say the least. But it was, I mean, I look back now and I'm like, thank God, because there was no way I was able to raise a child at that point, and adoption does not. I don't think I could ever without extreme having some extreme guilt the rest of my life. So it was a blessing in disguise for sure. But I mean, I just remember being in the back of that cop car and like banging on the window, and then being like, "Oh, she just wants to get out," and like literally it coming out and just being like, what is going on? Like, what did you do to yourself? Like, what did you do to your life? And the crazy part is, I got to the hospital and I had two no bail warrants, and the cops let me go. They're like, we don't know what to do. We're just going to let you go. And I walked out, and I went to the hospital, and as soon as I called my dealer from the hospital, like, can you come pick me up because I'm dope sick? Like, not even like that just blows my mind that like there was no thought other than I need to get loaded. Like I just need to get loaded. Like none of this happened. Like if I get loaded, it'll take it all away, and it did for years. Like it did, and it probably kept me back out there for a long time. But I mean, just the things we do to our bodies and our minds, and not even think twice about it. It's something I work through, obviously in recovery, but I just I have a very big heart for women in that are pregnant in addiction because there's not a lot of resources out there for them. There's not, and it's sad because stuff like that happens. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's wild, and I'm sorry that that happened to you.
It's
Sorry you went through that.
my own fault at the end of the day. I mean,
Yeah, I don't like I'm not the type of person to judge other people because I've been there. Not in your situation, but I've been through the ringer myself and understand what it did to me, so I can only empathize with what it did to you.
right.
And so I'm sorry you went through that. Um, did you ever get to a point like I know for me I got to this point, but did you ever get to a point where you looked at yourself in the mirror and said, "What the fuck am I doing?"
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like now, so I've always been, and I'm not trying to be cocky, conceited or anything, but I've always considered myself, pretty. Like I've always liked to be pretty, like makeup, hair, and nails. Like I took pride in my appearance, I should say. And I just remember like my last year of addiction, like I was on meth really bad, heroin, and I had my whole body just like picked out in scabs because I would sit in my room and just like dig at my skin with tweezers, and like I cut my hair off and I was just I don't know what I was thinking, and I just looked and like I had so much makeup on my face because I was trying to cover up the scabs from this, and I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, how is this anything that you thought you would ever become? And it's mind blowing to me. It really is like, or
Yeah, yeah. I got to that point too. My dad was an alcoholic, and I was like, when I when I got old enough, I got to that point where I was like, I'm never gonna be like him, never ever. The one thing that I can't run from is I look just like my dad. I sound like him. I'm literally the epitome of my father, and it was terrifying because I got to a point one day where I was washing my face. I was still in my active addiction. I popped my head up and I looked and I seen him staring back at me. I was like, scared the dog shit out of me, and I was like, what am I doing to myself? And that didn't stop me.
I was like, it doesn't stop you though. Yeah,
No.
as I'm like, what are you doing to yourself? And I'm still scraping my face off in the mirror. Like, what are you like? It doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it didn't even curb my anything. I was like,
no,
I'm gonna moderate a little bit, and we can't moderate a goddamn thing.
nothing. No, not at all.
Nothing. Not at all. Like we can't recreationally drink. Like that's not in our nature.
No,
You know.
you can't.
Y- and I've heard so many times from people. Why can't you just moderate yourself? Do you want to know the real reason? I'll tell you because that whole bar back there.
I don't want to
I'm
moderate. I don't.
no. I want.
What's the point of having a glass of wine or a beer? Like that doesn't sound fun to me. I want to drink the whole bottle and
Yeah, yeah. I can't. It doesn't sound fun to me. It doesn't sound appealing. It doesn't sound. It's not interesting unless I'm getting shit canned. And
yeah.
and so that life ended up starting to lose meaning. I don't know if you got to that point where you're like, fuck it, whatever.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, it's terrible. Did you have people like try to intervene or try to do interventions on you and say your life is running away from you? You need to fucking clean up.
In the beginning, it was like my heroin addiction. Yes, I had a baby, and he was 3, and like that's when I first got caught doing heroin by my family, and like they tried to stop me, sent me to rehab a couple times, um, and I would just get out and get high, and then finally when I lost custody of my son, um, I just left. I I didn't. I knew that my family was trying to me back in rehab. It wasn't happening. I had lost my son, so therefore I thought my whole world was crumbling. So I mean, I just went. I took the boyfriend that would co-sign my bullshit, and we left. And then I stayed gone for about 8 years, just with random men that would feed my habit and take me in and care for me because like I that's and I cut off my family and stayed around people that needed drugs as much as I did. So there was no reason for anyone to try and stop me. But yeah, in the beginning they did, but I mean, I wasn't ready. I knew I wasn't ready. I tried telling them, like I just started, like I'm not even that bad, like
It's not as bad as it can be. Just wait.
yeah, calm down. something.
We'll fucking see. We'll see here in a few years. Just wait.
Yeah.
Just. Oh yeah, no. I had people. I had people that are like, "Oh, you drink too much." And I'm like, "You think I drink too much? Just hold the goddamn phone. You ain't seen drinking yet." And I used to identify myself, and when I would meet people that were new into my life, I would say, "Oh, you don't know the real me until you met the drunk me," because that's what I thought I identified as. Did you
Oh
ever
yeah.
get to that point
Oh
where
yeah.
you're
I
like,
used to. Yeah, for sure. I like. I mean, after I like split off from my family and just went like on my own, I would tell people like that came into my life like I am a heroin addict and I'm probably gonna die a heroin addict and I'm okay with that. So if you want to be in my life, you have to be okay with that. Like I had a boyfriend for like 3 years and he didn't he did met like what do you call it every couple like every once a month or something, like
mm-hmm,
nothing like and I basically told him, "You want to be with me, and you want me in your life, then you're just gonna have to accept the fact that I do heroin every day. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, that's me, and you're gonna have to accept it." And he did. And I mean, I live with his parents, and I mean, 80-year-old grandparents or parents that and I told them the same thing. Like I had no shame. I was like, this is me. Like his 80-year-old dad would come pick me up from the train tracks after I just got done getting dope because they were worried and they didn't want me out staying out there. And, it was just horrible. But yeah, I basically told people this is me. Like there's no getting around it. You can't fix me. I don't want to be fixed. Either deal with it or move on.
yeah, yeah, I can. I definitely understand that. I can definitely understand it. So, what got you to that point where you said I need some help and I'm dead serious about this shit?
So like I really don't know what happened. Like I really don't like I know that I was with in an uncomfortable relationship that I was just with because I needed a place to stay and he dealt with me like I had said. And I went to prison and then I knew I wanted to change, but I didn't know how. So when I got out, but in the back of my mind, I think I still wasn't ready. Like I knew when I got out I was gonna get high. Like I had that whole mindset in prison, like I can't wait till I get out. I'm getting high. And like, but I kind of had the inkling, like maybe I could get better. But as soon as I got out, it went right back. And then when I went back the second time, about 8 months later, I was in jail for about 6 months before I went to prison. And I don't know. I for some reason I have no idea. Some call it God, some call it higher power. I don't know what it is. All I know is that for some reason I was like, maybe this time could be different. Like maybe I can get everything I worked so hard for. I've met some amazing people in that jail. This lady that used to come in and do our classes, like she really inspired me and was like, "You could do it." And I would tell her, I'm like, "I'm gonna stay clean this time," and she'd be like, "Oh yeah," and I'm like, "Yep." And I'm like, "Just watch." And I still talk to her today. Like, to this day, still talk to her. She's like, "I'm so fucking proud of you. Like, I can't believe you did it." And yeah, I don't know. I called. I hadn't talked to my mom in 3 years. I called her from prison and I said, I don't want nothing from you. I just want to know you're here. And so she was like, all right. And some miracle happened. Like I said, COVID was going on, and I was supposed to do 8 months in prison. And one day, they like 3 weeks into my time, they called me and said, "You're getting released tomorrow because of COVID." So I was one of the
Wow.
six women that was released in Nevada due to COVID and us not being able to see a judge.
Wow.
So So I call my mom back and I'm like, "Mom, I'm getting released. I need to come live with you." And she's like, "Absolutely not. That's sorry. I love you, but no." And I'm like, "But I want to stay clean." And she's like, "I've heard this a million times over." And I'm like, "But I really do." And so I called her back the next day. I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm going to the streets then. Like, I don't know when I'll talk to you again." And she said, "Well, my sister's clean too, my little sister." And she goes, "Well, your little sister's offering you to go live with her in California." And it was like a godsend and a miracle. And I got out. My mom picked me up. My sister drove me to California, and that's it. Like, I don't know. There was something they say like you have a fucking spiritual awakening. I guess that's what I had in jail. I do know that like I'm not very religious at all. Like I don't know what I believe in, but I sat and said the Serenity Prayer. Like that was my go-to in jail over and over and over because I was so terrified of going back to prison. But like, so I just like, all right, I'm gonna say the Trinity prayer. I know this, and it was kind of like my how I would get myself to sleep every night. I don't know if something like just like I know habit. It's like a habit forms after 90 days doing something, or like you start believing it. Your brain like
Yep.
starts believing it after you say something over and over. Like I don't know if like I had just let go at that point and given up and surrendered or what, but there was a change in my brain and I just wanted better.
That's awesome. That is pretty awesome. Um, you know, it's weird because you said the Serenity Prayer. I got to this point in my like early recovery where um, I s- I would say the Serenity Prayer every day waking up, and then if some bad shit would happen that would like trigger me to drink, I would say it, and I would say it until I felt better. So if it was 5 minutes, I would say it for 5 minutes. If it was 5 hours, I'd say it for 5 hours. Even if I'm out, I'm sitting there. I have my 24-hour coin in my pocket. And I'm just yeah, something's got to give because you know I need a different way,
Yeah.
and because the way that I'm doing things it isn't working for me. And every time that I've tried to do something different, I've always felt,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had I had stints of sobriety where I never worked a program. I never got into communication with people that were sober. I never shared my story. None of that. And every single time I put my recovery on other people, so I said, I'm only sober because this person asked me to be sober, and if they leave me, then I have nothing to be sober for. Now I know differently. Like I got to be sober for myself, because God forbid my wife leaves me, I'll have nobody to be sober for, and I don't want to relapse. That's not in the plan. That's not in the plan. It's definitely not in the plan. But you talked about spiritual experiences. I'm not religious. I don't believe in the monotheistic version of God, but like I don't damn anybody who does. But I had a spiritual experience and it was weird. I've had two of them. One was profound where it was like, holy shit, something's out there, and it changed the way that I thought about things. But did that start to change the way that you thought about things after you had that spiritual experience?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, I don't know like what flipped on in my brain. Like I have no idea. Like I don't know why all of a sudden I woke up and was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like it just like a psychic change, like they say. Like there's just a psychic change where I'm just like, all right, time to grow up. Like it's just like all of a sudden one day I woke up and was like, all right, we're gonna try it this way, and I haven't looked back. I don't know.
how different was it being around your mom and your sister being sober versus when you were in your addiction?
So my mom and my sister are both recovering addicts. Well, my mom's a recovering alcoholic, and my sister is a recovering heroin addict too. So I mean, like it's always been us three. So it wasn't really like anything different. I mean, my biggest thing was like I stole a lot from my mom. Like I mean, I did. I did a lot of damage. I left my kid for 7 years, where she had to go fight for grandparents' rights because I just left. Like I mean, there was a lot of anger with her towards me. Me, I just like. I mean, I didn't have any anger. I was upset with a few things that happened, but I just brushed them aside. Like I just wanted my family back at the end of the day, and I mean, we went right back to how we were. It was like just like before, before the addiction set in. There was never really like a strain on us, which was cool.
It was like an unspoken amends.
Yeah, yeah. My mom said too. She said when I was doing my steps, she goes because she's a recovering alcoholic, so she's
Yeah.
done the steps, and she was like, don't. I don't even want to hear it." And I'm like, she's like, "Just show me. Just do your living amends." She's like, "You don't need to come to me and say all this stuff. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, at the end of the day, you're my daughter. I see what you're doing. Like,
Yeah. And how did that feel when she said that and she said, I just want to see you do the work?
well, it was. I understand. Like, because I did. I took dirty chips with my mom for years. Like I mean, my mom would drag me to AA, and I'd be smoking heroin in the bathroom, taking a 6-month chip. Like I get it. Like I understand. Like she didn't want to hear me say anything. Like nothing that came out of my mouth was believable for the last 15 years. So I mean, I understood. And I was ready for it. I was, I really, since I got sober, have not thought about. I mean, I think about it every day. And I'm not gonna lie, I think about getting high every single day. But have I actually been like, that sounds like a good idea? No. Like it's more just reminiscing memories. Like I'd like to not feel right now than anything, or like yeah, like you could not, like. But it's never like an actual thought. Like it's just a fleeting thing in my
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah. I actually made a video the other day, or TikTok the other day. I call it a video, whatever. I'm old. Uh, I'm not with the generational terms now, okay? But I guess I made a TikTok the other day, and I said, I've come to realize that the substance is not my problem anymore. It's my
Yeah,
brain.
yeah, definitely.
My brain telling me it's a good idea to go drink. You've gotten into an argument with your wife. It's a good idea to go drink. Like that's gonna solve my fucking problems because it's done that before, right?
Right.
It's
I'll
it's
go at the
it's
moment. Like,
yeah, it's the cure for everything. But it's the problem of everything. It's where everything started. Um, that's pretty awesome. So what was your first meeting like when you're in active addiction versus recovery, like the mindset?
AA.
Yeah, AA, NA, whatever.
Well, like in active addiction, I mean, I just went to meet other people, like you were saying. Like I went. It's like I wanted my kid back, or I wanted to like keep my kid, or I wanted to keep my family. Like it was never really like doing this for me. So when COVID finally let up and they started having real meetings in person, I started going to the ones out here, and it was just I actually a girl on TikTok messaged me and was like, "You're in Vegas. I have 9 months sober and I haven't been to a meeting because of COVID." She goes, "Would you take me?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, let's go. I don't. I've been only been to one meeting. Let's go." And so we started going to a meeting every Sunday night, and we met through TikTok. And now she's my best friend, and I live with her, and we've lived together a year and a half, and and it all started with TikTok. So like
That's awesome.
yeah, so and it's just I love the scene. I love the support. I don't go to meetings much anymore because I work in recovery and it's a lot.
Yeah.
But I definitely the support in AA. It's not like I tell people all the time. It's not like for me. It wasn't the steps. It wasn't like for me. It's the support that I've gotten through that group. Like I call almost anyone that I know in AA if I needed something, and they would show up. Like those people just show up. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's pretty awesome. Um, I know my first meeting that I ever went to was in 2010, and my dad was in recovery at the time, and he's like, "Hey, you'll go to a meeting." I'm like, "Fuck, am I gonna do at a meeting?" That was the mindset,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Yeah, just come to this meeting. I think you would like it." I show up, I go to this meeting with him. It's a speaker meeting. You know who's the speaker? My dad. My dad was the speaker, and so my first thought in this whole thing was my dad drugged me to this meeting for me to hear about him bragging about all the good shit that he's done.
You're like, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, you are so fucking full of yourself, man. Like this is, and I even put it on him. I said, "This is why I drink, because of you."
Right.
But it wasn't it. But it's just weird because he got out of recovery. He went back out, and I came in, and he would say when I would call him in early recovery, and I'd say I have all these problems, and I'd just ramble on. He'd be like, "Page 417, man." And I was like, I don't want to hear your bullshit, dude. I'm not listening to what you have to say. And I would ramble on. And every single conversation, he'd say page 417, 417. And finally, one day, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to listen to you. What do you have? He's like, page 417. That's your answer right there. I read it and I was mind blown. Absolutely mind blown. All this time, I could have just saved my heartache, my headache, all that stuff. I would have listened to him. And so now when I come to him and I say I have a problem, he's like 417. I'm like, all right, Dad, I get you. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. So how does it feel to be able to influence other people in recovery because of your own recovery?
I, I mean, it's probably what keeps me sober. Like,
Yeah.
it probably is like a huge. I mean, it plays a huge role. I mean, like I said, my first year was on TikTok, and people were telling me I inspire them, and I'm like, you don't understand where I came from. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, I just got out of prison. Like, I lost my kid. Like, like, but I mean, through the process of working my butt off, getting my kid back, and like all the things I have done, like, I mean, I get it because I mean, I watched, I had an inspiration too at one point. The lady that came in my jail and talked to us, like, I mean, she was a huge inspiration. So, like, it's just it's crazy that a girl like me could be an inspiration to somebody because of all the crap I've done and been through. But then again, like, I went through that crap for a reason. Now, like, I know that it was all for a bigger purpose, and I can help walk other women through it. And I, I mean, guys too. Like,
Hmm.
I love it. It's like my purpose. I found my purpose, definitely.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, what are you doing now to stay sober? Like, I know you do TikTok and you work out in the field. What do you do out in the field?
I am the drug court case manager.
Look at you.
So I am a case manager of up to 60, 50 clients at a time. I case manage 17 women, up to 17 women, depending on how many are in the house, and then about 40 men at the men's property, all different courts. That's why I was asking you about the court system in the beginning, because I do vet court too. Um,
Nice.
any kind of court that we have, I case manage them, and yeah, so I help them get through their drug court program, or I help them go back to jail and start over. Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes they need it, and like, it's an amazing experience. It really is. I don't go to meetings, like I said, a lot. I do a lot for my job. We have like stuff that we have to, like, well, not have to do, but like, events, outings. I do have a home group that, like, I'm putting on a trunk or treat with this year for kids and for like all the court systems and like all the rehabs in Vegas to come together. Just like little random stuff. And then, of course, like you were talking about, self care is a huge thing for me. I did get my kid back, so I see him on the weekends. So I spend a lot of time with him. I don't have the desire to use. Like, the cravings are not there. I never thought I could say that. I never understood that that was a possibility. I was like, I'm always gonna want it. I don't want it. I don't know. I don't know why or how, but I just don't want it. Like, when shit gets bad, I don't go. I need to go. I joke about it a lot. Like, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I wake up every morning and I look at my best friend and I'm like, "Are we gonna go shoot some heroin today?" And then she goes, "No." That's our thing. Like, we'll be at the coffee pot going heroin or work, and then, it ends up being work every day. But I have to have that sixth sense of humor. I just do,
Yeah.
and I'm like, and the funny part is, the thing I love about my job is I'm like this with the courts, like the court coordinators, the judges, like they know where I'm come from, and they know everything I've been through, and so it's nice to have be working alongside of these people because I got sentenced to drug court 3 times, and every time I got out of jail, I won. So I've never completed drug court. I went to prison. Like, so it's cool to help people actually make it through drug court, and they're like, "Oh my god, like, thank you!" And like, 2 guys today in court mentioned my name to the judge on how I helped them, and they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. And like, that kind of stuff is just, it's mind blowing. Like, it's for someone like me, it's mind blowing.
That's pretty awesome. I was on the opposite end. I was one of the participants, and like the cool thing is now being a graduate and alumni, I get to give back to the participants that we have. And yesterday I was in court, and the judge always like dead serious. First thing he says, "Hey, we got Sean from alumni. Sean, you got anything to say?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we have this going on at the end of the month, that going on in October." And he's like, "How's everything with your life going?" I'm like, couldn't be better. And then we had a graduation yesterday, which was super awesome, really cool. And the participant that graduated yesterday, he's a man of a man of few words, and he doesn't say a lot. But he was like, "Alumni changed my life." I was like, and he was like, "Everything Sean has done has changed my life." And I was like, "Oh my god!" And it just feels good, It's that great feeling, that sense of I'm doing something to change somebody else's life, or assist them in changing their life.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't work with the women as much as I used to because I used to do just the women's house. But I mean, like, in the beginning when I was working with just them, like, I was told I would never see my child again. I was told I would not see my child till he was 18 years old. Like they told, I mean, I got told by everybody in the court system, my family, like, like don't even plan on coming back. Like you're not going to do it. Like it's not going to happen, and you're not going to get your rights back. You left for too long. Like 7 years is too long for you to just leave and then come back and want to be a mom again. And like I did. I went on my year sober. I went and filed for custody, and the thing is, the judge was going to give me joint, and I chose to turn it down and take visitation because my son had been with his dad for so long. I wasn't trying to take my son from him. I was trying to just be my son's life. So yeah, it ended up working out for the better for me, and now I get to walk women through that, and they get to get their kids back and all that stuff, and it's crazy. Like it's like it's the biggest blessing. It really is.
That is pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. What do you do for self care?
Oh God, watch
What
crime,
don't I do?
watch crime, and lay in bed. I'm when I'm not at work because I work a lot and it's mentally exhausting. I come home and I lay in bed and I eat junk food and I watch true crime. Like that's my thing. I love true crime, and it was funny because I was just looking at I saw a TikTok and so I started researching because it said that trauma survivors are really in big on true crime because of it's comforting because they can watch it from the comfort of their beds and feel safe.
That's wow.
Yeah, and isn't that weird? Isn't that crazy? Like
We all do that.
I, I was like, all
That's
right.
That's insane. Yeah, I got actually. You were talking about true crime. It brought up a memory from yesterday. So my counselor, I had an appointment yesterday. And my counselor's like, "So how's everything going?" I got reintegrated because uh, the VA and my counselor's office don't like to communicate back and forth. And so my counselor's like, "Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. What's new? You doing all right? Is the anger okay?" I was like, "I'm working on the anger. It's not like an everyday thing where it's like outrageous, but yeah." And he goes, "Okay." He's like, "Yeah, I haven't seen," and this is the funniest shit. He was like, "I haven't seen any missing persons cases in Alaska." And I'm like, I was like, my counselor just roasted me. I was like, "You're right." And he was like, later on in the conversation, he goes, "Well, it seems to me that you're working on your anger." I'm like, "Yeah, there hasn't been any missing persons cases yet, is it?" And so, I mean, in that, we have to laugh at some of our situations that we're in because if we don't laugh in it, we start damning ourselves. And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
definitely. And it's funny because when I have a court coordinator and she's like, people don't like her because she's very strict, and me and her are very close. We work side by side, and she follows me on TikTok, and I was so scared. She emailed me one day. I'm at work, and she goes, "I hear I need to follow you on TikTok," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Please don't." Like, I love you, but I'm like, just know that it's not professional. Like, it's not. I'm like, it's all for entertainment purposes only. And she's like, "I wouldn't." I was like, "Don't judge me." She's like, "I wouldn't judge you." And then come to find out, she follows me and then two other people. And I'm like, "Oh, oh
so
well,
only she only sees your stuff. That's
oh
it.
well."
That's awesome. That's awesome. Did you get to go to NADCP this year?
No, what's that? I don't know what that is. Oh, the
Or
drug
you
court
don't?
thing.
The National Association of Drug Court
Yeah,
Professionals.
it was down in like I don't know Tennessee or something down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my boss and then like the director went. All the drug court coordinators went. We were like they didn't have court for like a week, but somebody had to hold down the fort. I'm not like up there yet to where I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. Like I don't know if I'm gonna stay in the court system industry. I know I want to case manage, but I don't know how far I want to take it. I know that there's a couple opportunities that might be coming up in the next year or so where I might go a different route, steer away from the courts so much. But I don't know. We'll see.
They have a case manager's track.
We do.
Yeah. Yeah, I went down there. I was down there in Nashville for a week, and I went through a mentor coordinate or a mentors program for a vet court. But it was insane. There was 8,500 people there.
Yeah.
It was wild,
Yeah.
and it was just awesome to be around that kind of energy and all those people around there. I got to meet the first vet court judge ever. That was super cool. And I got to shake his hand and say thank you for what you do or what you've done. And in that, it created some cool opportunities that I'm Hopefully be bringing it to the channel soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, super exciting, super exciting. So, for anybody that is in active addiction that wants to get into recovery, or people that are in early recovery and they're struggling with their sobriety or recovery, what kind of suggestion or advice would you give to them?
My number one thing is that you have to change people, places, and things. Like I mean, and that includes family members. Like that includes everybody. Like I know people's situations aren't ideal, but like you have to. I mean, throw the phones away if you have to. Like I mean, change your Facebook, change your phone number, delete all contacts. Like it has to be done. Like if you really want it to, like you have to be willing. You have to be honest with yourself. Like, do you really want this? Like, is this something you really, really deep down want? And if you say that you really do, then you have to be willing to do it. Like you have to be willing. There is no room for, oh well maybe, like no, you have to just get in there and do it. It's like it's a program of action. Like people, places, and things. Like if I would have gone around the same people that I was running around with, if I would have contacted any of those people, if I would have even just to like, oh, let me see if they're okay. You know, like you have to put yourself first. Like you cannot hold on to anybody that is in that lifestyle. Like, and I say it time and time again, but that includes family. Like, I mean, I couldn't. I know I couldn't. Any inkling that you were getting loaded, like, was going to get me loaded. So I had to put myself first and just cut off everything and hide in a room for a year. And I mean, it was a miserable year, but it was also the best year of my life. You know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, I want to actually tell you a story real quick.
Yeah.
I met a lady at NADCP, and she's an alumni. She graduated out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, I think. And she similar story to yours. And when she was graduating or working on graduation from the program, everybody on her treatment team said, "I think you should go back to college," because she was part of the way done with being a lawyer. When she was done, or when she was taking her bar exam, they came to her and told her, "You will never be a lawyer because of your criminal history." And she went and advocated for herself, went to her treatment team, said, "Hey, this is what I've been told," and she lobbied, and now she is the prosecutor in the same therapeutic court that she went through. And so she gets to be a living example to those that are coming in the program that recovery works, but also she gets to help people out, that are in the same situation as she was. So if that's not like a testament to what recovery does for people, I don't know what is.
No, for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely. Everybody in my job is all recovering now. Like up to the operations director, the program manager, our port liaison. Like we all came from the gutter. Like we all came from the exact same streets that these people are walking in from. So, and I think that's what gets to these people because they see that and they're like, you know,
absolutely, absolutely. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. I'm proud of you.
thank you.
I'm proud of you. You've come a long way.
Shit, I
You've done a
know.
lot of you've done a lot of work. So I just want to thank you for hanging out with me for this almost hour. I do appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me.
And everybody, thank you for hanging out with us for this almost hour. And till next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Much love.
Bye.